Welcome to Mosaic Mind, where leadership is not a rigid portrait, but a vibrant mosaic shimmering with the unique experiences of each leader. Mosaic Mind celebrates the amazing women shaping Vietnam's future. Buckle up, because backgrounds build brilliance. I'm My Holland, your cultural leadership guide. So let's meet those inspiring women, one mosaic at a time. Today, amazing guest is Winnie Lam. Winnie is considered a Vietnam veteran, having been here since early 2005. She has been with the Avison Young team for 7 years, working under different brands, and similar to her early ventures in Vietnam, where she was with the company for 10 years, but under 3 owners due to M&A. Winnie also serves on different communities associations, so you see she's very busy in her way to business chambers and charity organizations all these years. Winnie is also part of an edtech, a startup in Vietnam. So welcome, Winnie. How are you?
Good morning. I'm okay. Thanks, me, for having me.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to have a nice chat with you. I believe that we know each other for nearly 7 years now. So today is a different angle. So it's really, talking about, your leadership styles and all your cultural influence. So let's begin with some fun. How does your breakfast reflect your global background? Are you a pho or a banh mi kind of person, or are you congee your go-to? What are you?
Oh, that's very interesting. Let me see. I think I'll pick congee.
Okay. So with some eggs or salted duck eggs or?
Anything goes. I think congee is comfort food.
All right. So, okay, so let's delve into your identity here. So you have spent 23 years in Hong Kong. This is where you were born. 13 years in Canada, 1 year in Thailand, and many years since 2005, so nearly 20 years in Vietnam. So when we talk about cultural identity, what does it mean for you?
Simply put, I identify myself as Chinese, and Canadian happen to be my current nationality. Wherever I go, it is what it is. I think it's easier for people to recognize that I'm Asian, and I'm Asian. Never thought I'm anything else. I'm probably adopted Vietnamese right now for the amount of time that I've spent here.
That's right. Yeah. So what does that mean, global citizenship? What does it mean for you?
I think everybody is a nomad in the world now. We're no longer limited by geographical location as to where we may be. Technology makes it possible to be still connected to the people that you need to be connected. I remember when I was going to school, or when the whole family is everywhere, we would be in, a bigger family tree, all my cousins and everything will be in US, Canada, Australia, Hong Kong. And then when we were working, we will be in Singapore, Japan, Thailand, Vietnam, US, Canada, of course. So we're really not feeling the distance made possible by technology. I lived away from my parents more than I lived with my parents. And I think this is going to be increasingly the way rather than decreasing. I moved back to Asia, simply wanted to be a little bit closer to family, but not close as in next door close. But I would be able to respond to any needs within 24 hours. I think it was like my mom used to say. I remember there was one time that mom was sick, and I was thinking about, oh, I need to go home and I need to see how she is. My mom first response was like, what for? And I'm like, well, you're not well. And she said, you're not a doctor. I'm kind of like, okay. So her immediate needs are being tended by someone else, who is a professional. And as long as I stay near her at hand on the phone, then I'm just as close as to her as to anything else. My mom said it doesn't really matter where I am because she figures that she probably will see me more often and readily online if she needed to than if I live next door. She probably said that I probably won't show up for dinner once in a month.
Okay. Okay. So that's very interesting. Okay. So this is, from your mom version here, so seeing you more online than, face to face. So when you travel, because you travel a lot for work as well, and you meet a lot of people, working in many countries, and you spend, nearly the same amount of time in Vietnam, which is the longest time that you have spent outside of your country of birth, which is Hong Kong. So when people ask you where you're from, what do you say, in relationship to what you just said before?
Where am I from? I'm from Hong Kong.
Okay. I wanted to ask a good question because you were saying before, you might be an adopted Vietnamese, spending so many years here. So, okay, noted. So you work in many places, as we mentioned. Can you tell us a little bit more about how all those global experience shape your perspective as a leader, especially in Vietnam?
I would say no matter where we go, it's really a matter of putting down your assumptions. So, I came to Vietnam 2005. After 5 years, I told the company, I can't stand it anymore. Just take me out. I need to be somewhere else. And it still took 2 years for that to happen. I went out. I still managed what's happening in Vietnam. And then it was a definitely very fresh perspective because I'm now able to compare the current world with my last experience in Vietnam. Then I think I realized a lot of the problems I perceived were not a Vietnam problem anymore. It was more a generational problem. And I experience different level of that anywhere I go. Because before I was in a role in Vietnam, I wasn't in a role. I was in Vietnam. So obviously my experience was different or should be different. And as I move around in the region, then the feelings changed. I realized that actually I had it pretty good in Vietnam. And the next time when I came back full time, I asked for it. I made that choice voluntarily, even though I asked to leave the time before. I think it was definitely fresh perspective, looking at it at a much bigger angle, comparing things in a much different way, and be more grateful with what I have in hand. And that obviously not necessarily the same for everyone, but being able to put down what I call common sense from where we came from will be a big help because I think we are human beings very often being judgmental and my standard is my standard and being willing to take a little bit more objective view may take us a long way. Now, some people will resign to the fact that this is Vietnam, but that's not how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it as like, okay, so I choose to come here. I'm going to be exposed to things which may be different good, different not so good. But if I choose to be here, I have to take it in, all of it, and deal with it as I need to deal with it. Forcing your own common sense on it will only make your own life more miserable. It probably wouldn't affect the people around you because what they don't know, they don't know. You want to bring your own ruler every time, which is not necessarily understood by other people. I think the only one that's suffering is you. So
But
kind of change.
absolutely. So you're talking about flexibility. You're talking about mindset, which is based on common sense, which is also about a flexible mindset again. But that cultural awareness that you're talking about, it's not common sense for a lot of people when they go overseas, even if they read books and get training whatsoever. So what happens? How can we nurture that cultural awareness that you mentioned, especially when you talk, when you work with your team and how you communicate with your team? How do you navigate that cultural awareness that you just mentioned?
I always look at no matter what you do, the most important skill to me is listening skill. It's about willing to ask questions and honestly, wholeheartedly listen to the answer. You don't just ask for the sake of asking, and then take it in. I think being Asian helps in Vietnam because like there is not so big a gap There is a lot of similarities among the Asians. I do understand that sometimes my staff, for example, don't necessarily look at me as just Asian. They just look at it as like quotation expat. So expat is an expat. They may not really, look at them because I'm Asian. I ask a lot of questions, which could be extremely annoying to my staff, especially. But I am telling them that I need to establish my base so that I know where they're coming from before I decide what they are trying to tell me, or I need to paraphrase what they told me to them so that they understand where I'm coming from. They will find me a little bit annoying at times because a 2-minute conversation could turn into 20 minutes simply because they asked me something that I couldn't just answer without backgrounding. I still do it, even though I know I could be annoying, because I think it will save a lot of trouble on the other end, asking it up front. And also, as you ask more questions, your base become more solid for the understanding. Because I realize it's like when I always tell them, don't come ask me something without having an answer. They will look at me as if I'm weird. This is the only way I can understand where they're coming from and then be able to give the right advice, because I don't believe there's only one way of doing things. And to help build their confidence, sometimes I know it's kind of a roundabout way that they thought of, but if it would work, I will probably just let them do it first, and then they will be successful because I already know that it will work. And then as they succeed, we can talk about other ways of doing it. All right. And then they will be like, why didn't you tell me earlier? But I'm kind of like, you won't have the base of understanding why I'm telling you to do it differently. And by the way you suggest is working, right? So their sense of accomplishment on their own. And then with that, I just build upon it. Then it actually makes things happen a lot easier, if you ask me. It sounds a bit more complicated and it's a bit circuitry, but I think it works. Actually, it works wonder for me anyway.
I mean, what I'm hearing here is more like a coaching approach where people find out more about their own potential and really helping them to find it, which obviously from what you're saying works. But yeah, as you say, when you start asking questions, it might annoy, but actually at the same time, you also build a solid foundation. So yeah, so that's wonderful to share this with us. And I just wanted to ask you as well. So you've been in Vietnam for many, many, many years now, and I wanted to ask you a question on the other side. What have you learned about yourself in Vietnam that the other countries that you have lived in have given you this kind of insight?
I think it's patience. I would never consider myself a person of patience. Vietnam, to some degree, grinded out of me because you just can't rush it when you're in a developing place where everything could be a first time for some of our younger staff. I'm not saying that they're ignorant or anything. It's just that a lot of things will only come with time. Exposure is different. And then because their starting point is now, all right? So we have a lot of years of development to come to where we are. We kind of know why we are here. But for them, they start here. I would be very tempted a lot of times, it says, to bring them back a little bit because I want them to understand where I'm coming from also. And then they also need to see how lucky they actually are right now to with this starting point. So I never know I have that much patience. I would usually say something to someone at this level, but I would be chopping a message up into so many smaller pieces now so that I would say one thing at a time so that to help to build the building blocks so that I can avoid the misunderstanding which may come if I don't, and try to get to the result. So it may be a little bit longer, but I may still get the same result I would in a more developed place. So I think, yeah, I would say, yeah, patience for sure. I didn't know that I have at all.
Yes, knowing you, knowing how active you are, yes, patience is a very wise word that you have chosen to share with us. So patience for Vietnam, so really learning about yourself, so awesome. Okay, so you are extraordinarily busy. You have multiple roles in your community associations and business chambers. Can you tell us a bit more how those roles complement your professional life and contribute to your overall mission? So you are with the chamber, the Canada chambers, and what other community associations? Because I know you told me that it was so many.
Number one, I think I like to be busy. All right. It all started when I first got here. I realized that it's nobody's responsibility to help build a community for yourself in a new place. And so I try to attend things of different nature and try to meet different people. I wasn't deciding on anything because this is a two-way road, right? As much as I may want to help, I want to be a part of a certain community, then people have to want you also. And I think there is no better way than proactively offer what you can help with. I think in Vietnam, we were very lucky to have a lot of those kind of opportunities. If you want to be with something, you want to do something, if you put yourself out there to seek that out, you probably find it. And then it's a matter of, to what degree you want to be involved in, and then go from there. I consider myself very lucky that I was taken in by many different communities at different time. So I can give my time, and I wouldn't even call it expertise, and some of it is just a desire to do more than what I was just doing at work. And I think it's also I admit that it's a very selfish needs also. All right. Because it's not about what you're doing for other people. It's about the gratification that you are getting for yourself. And especially when we first came here, we always said that it's very frustrating because we don't understand necessarily the culture very well. And we are still using our own rulers. I feel that I'm achieving things very slowly. So you're trying to reach out to otherwise community to see if there are different achievement you can have. So for me, I think it is important that you do what you like, because it is your outside of work time, and you contribute where you actually can. Because when people are, even though it's volunteer work, and if you said yes, people are depending on you, and then give it your best. And I think I have the opportunity to try things that I have not done before, which I thought I was thinking, "Oh, I probably can do that." And someone is giving you arena to try your hands, working alongside people that are also with similar mindset, and you pick up experience and skills and friends outside of work. And I find that my professional network just kind of grow alongside, because like there I won't even call it a parallel road, because seriously, and you just don't know. First thing you know is like, this person from a very casual environment, and then you will run into them in another environment, and then little did you know, you become friends, and then you're working on something else. I think you just have to allow it to happen. I'm pretty open minded about what may be and could be, and if it is not my cup of tea, I'll just simply say it. No one will hold you to it unless you commit. All right. So I find it extremely interesting, and especially in the expat community, people comes, people goes. So
Yeah.
if you continue to participate, then your circle just keep opening up. And of course, we have much lesser avenue when I was first here. So I have friends who created avenues in which I were very early committers, and then we grew those community exponentially in such a
Ah,
way that I think now we may be entering our 16, 17 years of those organizations, which were casual, official, but it's still going. So you just don't know. So I definitely don't see the line between community work and community relationship and professional. It all comes together.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing. And I'm really interested and very curious. So you mentioned that you've been here, in Vietnam for 20 years. what did you see in terms of changes, 20 years ago and now, in terms of leadership approach, cultural influence? So you talk a lot about expat going in and out. What did you see really as a main picture that you want to share with people? What happened really in terms
Now,
of changes?
from a professional side, I think the most obvious will be the ability to master the English language in the younger generation. It was a hit and miss thing when I first got here. They can all speak a smattering of English at different level, but now they are realizing that this is a skill as they move along in the development of the country. And that definitely speeds up a lot of things because we no longer have to sort translation, direct conversation. They actually have a understanding beyond the surface of the language. Okay. When I first got here, they know English, they speak English, but that doesn't mean that they understand English. All right. And now is very different. They have a good level of understanding when they actually communicate in English with you. When I first got here, I remember staff having this icon on their desktop, which is like almost an instant translator thing, translation thing. So when they are trying to write an email, they will just keep drawing words from them. So as a result, the emails will be full of a lot of English flowery words, which may mean what they want to say is used very inappropriately that dilute the message in so many ways. I don't see that now, probably also because the tools in the world accommodate Vietnamese a lot better also. So if they're using a tool for the translation, it's more on point. We actually knows what they are trying to tell us. And as a result, that also speed up their ability to use English in a more appropriate or relevant way. And I think that is the first thing. The second thing I found is that they no longer that sense of inferiority when they're working with expat. I think long time ago when I came here, I would always say that I probably can get away with murder simply because I'm an expat. And they will agree to most of everything that I said. They will do most of everything that I told them to do without understanding or without the needs of understanding it. And I don't think that is the case anymore. They have mastered the language to the degree that they would now be able to have the right level of communication. Even if you're an expat, they will be able to speak their mind a little bit more. They will be willing to, look at the right and wrong before doing it. Now, I don't know if it is my environment that has changed, but I certainly feel that those were the two key evolvement in my working environment, at least.
So that's interesting because you're talking about a change over 20 years. So obviously, that's the two one which, that you really notice strongly. Thank you very much for sharing. So I know that you are also involved now in, EdTech, and I was wondering if you can tell us a bit more about your exciting new project.
Okay, by accident, I was being included in this project. I came from education. That's what I was at. That was my major to start with. And to be able to be involved in a education related project is very exciting. And I also believe that everything starts with education. So I am marginally involved in the fact that if I wasn't involved in the day to day of the project, it was a curriculum development project for Vietnam very specifically. And it is not just an academic program, but it is obviously technology driven. And it is also with a lot of life skill components like health, culture, and safety and all kinds of these kinds of things. And we have chosen to start this at the earliest age that we can. So it is a kindergarten curriculum that we were working on. And then one thing leads to the other. It just like started as an app, and then it became a curriculum, and then it was a extracurricular curriculum, and then it is now going into mainstream kindergarten in Vietnam. And it is, we call it EdTech because it is a technology-driven platform. It is not online teaching. It is online resourcing, you will call it. Having been a teacher, we were looking at the pain points of being a teacher. The teacher is a 16-hour job a day because you may be in the classroom for 6, but there will be 10 hours every day that you are preparing for a lesson. Long time ago, we also have to correct exercises and stuff like that. All right. So I remember my mom told me that I work harder as a teacher than I was a student. It's simply because the different aspect of it, you don't just walk into the classroom and teach. There is so much preparation behind it. And with smart resourcing, we basically is providing the teachers with materials and lesson plans and activities, exercises all in one place so that they can spend their time with the student when they're in the classroom and be able to teach to the ability of the student, because smart resourcing now will correct all the exercises for you. Okay. You don't have to. And then you'll be able to track all the achievement of a student. You'll be able to see gaps. You'll be able to see deltas. You'll be able to see spikes. And the most important thing is you can finally have that conversation with a parent without bias, because you will be looking at the same results as the parent will be, and then look at strategizing with a parent as to how to help. If you see a delta or if you see spikes, parents can decide to invest in a particular area. For example, your kid almost looks like a math protege. All right. Then instead of, trying to send him to all kinds of different courses, you can focus on developing that if that's what you want. Or if you see that they are having a slower trajectory in mathematics also, then you can look at more drill and practices that will help accelerate that. And instead of giving a kid a mark, which has actually meaning without context, and we are focusing on the development trajectory of a particular student in a particular aspect, and compared to the norm, so that they know that it's just like, even though mom thinks that you are very slow, actually no, when compared to the same class, they're actually progressing at above 75% with the others. So we are not just smart resourcing, we are providing a lot of facts and statistics. And I think it is gearing towards what we call a decision driven by data, so that we're helping parents and teachers with that also. And at a later stage, there will be AI integrated, so that there will be additional content and additional exercise that we would be recommending for the kid to look into if it is interested, providing parent student time outside of the classroom, because now that the parents almost 100% knew what they were learning in class, what they have done in class, and be able to do what they wanted to do and involve at different level. Nowadays, simply put, when I was a teacher, 30 years ago, parents will be asking the students, why are you not doing so well in this subject? Our world has changed. Now they will come to the teachers. Why is my student, why is my child, doing it like that? So I think we needed a common platform to have those conversations, while parents increasingly want involvement. Until we give them the right platform, teachers and parents are not going to get on the same page. And then by getting parents and students on the same page, then the student will benefit the most. And the way we do it is because the earlier development years they are more blank piece of paper, and we would be getting the most impact out of it. We would be helping students, parents forming maybe life-achieving habits in certain way of learning. There's no way we can do away technology, but we believe that teachers actually add the most value with the assistance of technology, but not necessarily unguided online learning. It is being launched and at selective schools, and our target is not private schools. We are working with the ministry, and hopefully we would be able to make it available at a very, very affordable cost. Education should not be expensive, and it should not be something that people have to decide whether they can have. We wanted something that everybody can access. So we will be working very diligently and making sure that the poorer commute and the outside of the main cities students will have access to that. And we are only wanting to do very small things, but hopefully in a big way.
Very inspiring, Winnie. I knew that you mentioned that project to me before, but I'm so happy that it's really, going to happen. Absolutely, I'm well going to follow on this project because it sounds fascinating, and I love the fact that you just said that education should not be like attached to a cost to it. So it's absolutely wonderful. So it's one of your accomplishments, but I really want to also know you have done so many things in your life. So not just in Vietnam but other countries as well. Can you share with us a little bit more about, what accomplishment you are most proud of, maybe personally and professionally?
I think I'm most proud of being able to do anything if I put my mind to it. I was very lucky to have met different people who believe I can do something that I have never done before. And I end up doing it and did it quite well. And then it's just evolved from there. Because I think different from some people, when they were young, they thought about what I'm going to be, what I wanted to do when I grow up. I have very little direction as to what I may want it to be. I study education and just I don't know. It's really a choice. It's just like it was a choice at the time. It is important that you put yourself to it. I believe in logic. So if you have a logical mind, you should be able to solve most problems. And of course, you have to research a little bit if it is a bit of a hard skill of a technical aspect of something. Otherwise, with logics, you can solve most of everything. That's how I looked at it. I consider myself a student, a pretty good student, mostly driven by curiosity more than anything else. And with curiosity and a bit of a determination, uh, that I want to win, I want to know it. And that with a little bit of perseverance, that is like, okay, I've committed and therefore I have to do it. And I think I was lucky to have been able to accomplish most things that I decided to do. And very often I can work with employers that will see that in me and then give me an opportunity to try different things because I have a lot of track record of I'm only doing it for the first time, but I was quite successful in it. And therefore, I think if I apply the same vigor and commitment to something new, I probably can do it too. And based on logic, I won't veer too far from the necessary path to get there. And because of my very diverse experience and background, I would be able to do a lot of cross-referencing and then bring the outside of the box for that particular industry or role experience into it and mix and mash. And so far, I haven't been having too many bumps on my head and lucky to be able to continue to do that. And of course, in the one thing that I have to avoid is being a cowboy. You have to have a safe enough baseline because you're not just responsible for yourself, you're responsible for a project, outcome for other people. Then you need to reasonably know that you can deliver before you can take on something. And then be able to learn and ask questions. So I like doing things that I've never done before. I just have to always find that one person that believe in me to let me try it. I consider myself extremely lucky in my adult life in terms of trying those things. I wasn't even referring it to professional life. Sometimes it's not even in a professional arena. It's outside of the professional arena. I've done so many things, especially in Vietnam, that I was given so many different opportunities to try my hands. And so a lot of times I feel that I owe it to Vietnam. Now, maybe it was just happened to be that phase in your career that I spend most of my time here. But I also think that I wouldn't be afforded those opportunities if I wasn't in Vietnam, honestly. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm proud of my achievement in Vietnam in so many different areas.
I'm so happy to hear this. I think you're so right. This country is changing a lot. You mentioned how it was 20 years ago in terms of mindset, extra, and yeah, in terms of opportunities as well. And I really want to ask you a question, for our listeners. So how can our listeners cultivate what we call a mosaic mind that embraces global cultures and mindset?
First question you should ask yourself, why are you here? Or why you're going somewhere? If you're not up for new experience, you shouldn't be going. And if you're up for new experience, you need to have an open enough mind. So it really goes back to examining your motivation of being where you are. If you feel that you're here because you have no choice, it's not your choice. It's not your choice, it's okay. But are you embracing it? I am a quite optimistic person. So I always look for the silver lining, look at the good side of things. So I would really think that it's really up to you. Ask yourself why you're here. If you're really dissatisfied or you can't wrap your mind around things that's happening around you, well, maybe it's just not the right place. It's not for everyone here. And that means that you need to make active plans to be somewhere else. It takes a rather brave soul to decide to go live in another country, especially when language is a complete stranger to you. You've already taken the first step of exploring a bigger universe than where you were from. So why restrict yourself to certain things? You need to feel safe. I think that is important also. People ask me, why can I be here for so long? Number one, I think is I feel safe here. If I don't feel safe in my environment, there is no way I could have made it for so long. And you can't really put standard to safety also, because I have friends that simply couldn't be here because she can't cross the road without having a panic attack. All right. I panicked too when I first got here. I wouldn't know when to step out. It take me minutes to cross the street. But then if you decided that you are ready for new experience, then a new experience is not guaranteed to be all good experience. That's going to be good and bad. And even if you stay home, you will still have good and bad experience. So I think it's having the right perspective of stepping out of your comfort zone and then expand that comfort zone as time goes by. And if you feel that if you are complaining about it and you can't help yourself complaining about it, maybe it's time to pick something else, not you don't have to be here. No matter where you go, just make sure you have that peace of mind. I think feeling safe, having peace of mind is one of the main reasons why I continue to be able to be here. And of course, having a support circle. And no one is responsible for your happiness and your needs. So go find your support circle, get yourself acquainted with people that share the same value, or even if they share this different value. But I think it's important to have a support circle. I have a very healthy support circle, I would say. We don't talk about just positive experience. We were able to exchange negative experience. So you also feel that you're not alone. There are other people who may feel the same, but they are still here. There must be something else that contributes to that decision. I think one need to be determined to unstuck if you feel that this is not it. Took the brave step of coming here, took another step, go somewhere else if that is necessary.
I love your wisdom, Winnie. I mean, you talk about patience, you talk about comfort zone, you talk about, bravery, you talk about, having that circle of support. This really, 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 really good tips here. So your wisdom is really a gift. So as you embark on your new adventure, Mosaic Minds really celebrate, this kind of leadership tapestry. So I guess we can follow you on LinkedIn, and we're going to below, your LinkedIn, profile. You're reachable also on Facebook and Instagram. So really, catch up and link up, with Winnie. As you know, she's very active, and she's definitely, in many, many spaces here. So as to us, we really want to hear from you all. So you can let us know where you are listening from and how being multicultural is an asset or not for you. Really share your thoughts. We really want to hear from you. So Winnie, thank you very much today for making time. Thank you very much for your generous wisdom. Really sharing really good tips. I really like the fact how you have traveled, in 20 years in a country where you feel safe. That was really a beautiful sharing. And I wish you very, very, good, plenty of good things. And can't wait to hear more about your EdTech project as well. Hey, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Bye. Bye.